Hi everyone, my name is Peter Cecile. So in this video, I'll be talking about how proof of fund is changing, specifically for those that are applying for study permit from Nigeria. And with all of this Central Bank of Nigeria, exchange rate and all of these things, the official rate, everything changing, how exactly is this going to affect proof of funds moving forward for your Canada study permit application? And I do have some advice for you, so you should take this very seriously. If you've already gotten admission and you're planning to apply for study permit in the next couple of weeks, I will advise you to take a step back, hold on, and do your calculations based on what the current rate is, okay? If you're applying this week, check what the current rate is for that week so you can know how to, when you're writing your study permit, your letter of explanation, you are going to say, I have a 20 million naira, and which is equivalent to this. So whatever equivalent you're going to put in your letter of explanation, use the rate as at that day, okay? And then you can put the bracket rate as at today. You can put the date right in your letter of explanation. Now, if you've already put things together and you've done your calculation, so you shouldn't be using the rate, maybe what you've written your letter of explanation like 3 weeks ago. Things have changed, especially with the Canadian dollars now changing. Before now, the Canadian official bank rate is what they use to calculate your proof of funds, not the black market. But now, or that time, the bank rate used to be between 340 and like 350 naira to $1 Canadian. But now that things are changing, as you know that the current rate is changing, as at the time this video is filmed, the rate is actually now between 485 to about 495. It's kind of changing, right? So it means that you're going to be needing to show more proof of funds based on your calculation. So if you were to show $10,000, as I before, it used to be a certain amount. If you multiply your $10,000 by the official rate 350, and now it's going to be around maybe say an average of 490, then it's actually going to be more expensive to show something more in naira. So what should I do? There are 3 things I want to advise you, so you can actually take this advice. So one of the things, Canada is they're very peculiar about your proof of funds. It doesn't make sense to put lump sum in your account. One of the things the visa officers always want to see is your ability to justify the amount that you have in your account. If you are employed, you have to show your letter of employment, your pay stub. If you have a business, show your business registration, receipts from purchases and all that. It's not just to say, I'm showing 30 million in my account. If you don't provide sufficient justification as to that amount, then it's going to be a problem. In fact, someone sent me a message recently that they got denied even though they had big money and they applied for GCMS note. One of the reasons they said was that, there were a lot of lump sum that entered into your account that was not accounted for or justified. And so it's not going to be convincing for them. So the first thing that you have to do is, if you're planning to, let's say, apply for January 2024, and you know that you don't have the funds available at the moment, I'm going to advise you to shift your proposed start date to a later date, so you can have a lot of time to save more, and then so that you can have more funds, okay? Because there is no point just applying and then putting all of this lump sum in the account that you can't account for, because they will always state explicitly that this money should not be borrowed. It has to be your own money that you can justify. So I would say shift one to a later date. It can even be May of next year or September of next year, and then look, brood over it, think about it. Where is this money going to be coming from? What can I do? If you have some properties that you want to sell to raise some funds and all of this, you can have a lot of time to think about it, so that by the time you present your statement of account due on visa application, it's going to look very genuine, and it should be genuine in the first place. And then the second advice is going to be, even though you are an employee, I'll advise you to start a business, okay? Get your business registered. So which means, and they get a business account, okay? Get a business account. So in addition to your personal account, have a business. With that business, it's going to be justifiable if you have, money moving in here and there, and you can justify that it is money from your business. They're not going to have a lot of issues with it. Okay, so start a business and then get it registered as soon as possible. Okay, and then ensure that you're kind of having transactions in your business account, and so that when the time comes, even though you move some money from your business account to your personal account, it is your money, right? If you have, let's say, 10-20 million in your business account, and maybe for some reason you send that to your personal account, provide the evidence, provide the receipt that you used to, or the transaction, whatever document download that you use to send that money, and then write a supporting letter to that. So all of these things I'm advising, these are the legal ways that you can, legal and something reasonable ways that you can show, proof of funds, especially with this scenario, because a lot of things are happening now, and I foresee that there's going to be a lot of denial, based on proof of funds, because people might submit proof of funds based on a particular rate, and at the time the application is being reviewed, then the rate has changed. So they are going to calculate mostly based on the rate at that time. So start a business, get it registered, and then even though the program you are applying for does not relate to your business, that's fine. That's your side hustle, right? You can actually save some money, have some money from there, and then when the time comes, you can kind of mesh things together. Although you are not going to be providing your business account. I usually don't encourage you to show your business account, but if you move money from your business account, like let's say money from your sales or whatever, you have some money that you move it's not going to be a problem. The next thing I'm going to advise you is to try to apply for a cheap college. Because if you apply for a cheaper college, it means that your tuition requirement and deposit, even though your tuition deposit is like $500, $1,000, but the amount you're going to show for tuition is not going to be less compared to the other cheaper, expensive schools. Now, it's not really cheap. For some of the cheap colleges you can have, if you see 10,000 to 12,000 Canadian dollar tuition, that is considered cheap relative. I mean, most of the colleges in Ontario specifically, you'll be having something like maybe between $16,000 and $19,000. So if you already have $10,000 for tuition in any of these colleges, now you need to now show, let's say you've paid deposit of $1,000, you have about, let's say, $9,000 to $10,000 to show. $10,000 plus $10,000 for the cost of living, and then if you're adding any other family member, you also calculate with that. Compare that if you apply to a college that is like $19,000 or $18,000, you need to show that you have that $18,000 plus your 1 year cost of living, and then if any other dependent is following you. So I've done a lot of videos on my channel as to some of the cheap colleges. You can definitely check out New Brunswick Community College, it's quite affordable. You can check out Nova Scotia Community College, quite affordable. You can check out Holland College. It's actually in Prince Edward Island, also affordable. You can also check out Northern Light College and Medicine Hat College. So from all the research that I've done, these are some of the cheapest colleges that I can find so far. So apply to them, and many of them may have start date for September of 2024. So you may not see, a lot of them may not have January studies, some do have. And in fact, for May start date is very rare, okay? So I would say take your time, I start planning for September of 2024. And most of the applications now, because they are very cheap colleges and a lot of people are applying, it's going to get filled very quickly. So you have to apply as soon as possible against September 2023, so that they can have your admission. Once you have your admission, you have about 6 to 8 months. Even though you apply for admission for the visa, like 4 months to the start of the program, is very okay. You can have about 6 to 8 months, to really put things together, plan your proof of fund, save some more if you want to sell properties and start a business. You can have a lot of time to do all of this so that you can show something reasonable and something that is justifiable and verifiable. And then when you do this, I think you'll be increasing your chance, and then this CBN, hula baloo, and all of these changes is not really going to affect you that much. But overall, the amount required for proof of funds is actually increasing. It doesn't mean you can apply for masters. So I would say, whether masters, you can definitely say apply for masters, of course, but also look out for some of the universities that are cheap for masters. That's going to be good. And if you're applying for bachelor's degree, anything you're applying, just look for the cheapest university, the cheapest colleges that you can find, such that you're going to be paying less for tuition. You can have enough funds to show for the proof of funds, and because of this, CBN unified rate and all that. So plan accordingly, and then all the best in your application. If you have any other specific question, I need to talk to me one-on-one about applying for admission and other things, there's going to be a link in the description, and reach out to me. I have a one-on-one mentorship where I can provide you guide on how to get things done and kind of put one or two things in order. And if you haven't decided which colleges or which course you want to apply that matches, your specific program, you can definitely reach out to me. Then you should be just good. So whether you are doing diploma, certificate program, or any other thing, just look for the cheapest program. Start a business as much as possible, get it registered as soon as possible, and then you should be good. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, do it to subscribe to my channel and hit that like button if you really enjoyed this video, and then I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.